The spaceship landed on planet with a soft thud, looked out the window, and saw the biggest building she had ever seen in her life. It was the Galactic Beast Rider Academy, and it stood like a mountain made of white stone and blue glass. Towers reached up into the purple sky. Strange birds flew around them in circles. Was 24 years old. She had black hair that she kept in a simple ponytail. Her eyes were dark brown, and right now they were wide with wonder and fear. She was the first human to ever come to this place. Humans had only discovered space travel 50 years ago. To the rest of the galaxy, they were bobbies. New, weak, primitive. She picked up her small bag and walked down the ramp. The air smelled like flowers and something else she could not name. Maybe it was the smell of alien soil. Maybe it was the smell of her new life. A tall creature waited for her at the bottom. He was covered in black scales that shined like glass. His eyes were yellow with thin black lines in the middle. He stood on two legs like a human, but he had a tail and claws. His name was, and he was the head instructor of the academy. "You are the human," said. His voice was deep and cold. "Yes, sir, my name is." Looked at her for a long time. His yellow eyes moved up and down, studying her like she was a bug. "I did not want you here," he said. "The council forced me to accept you, but I want you to know something. You will fail. Humans cannot do what we do here." Felt her heart beat faster, but she kept her face calm. "I will try my best, sir." "Your best will not be enough," turned and walked away. "Follow me." The academy was full of aliens, saw creatures of every shape and size. Some had 4 arms, some had no arms at all, some floated in the air, some walked on 6 legs. They all stopped and stared at her as she passed. She heard them whisper to each other. "That is a human. So small. No telepathy at all. Why is she here?" Kept her eyes forward and followed. The academy taught one thing: how to bond with beasts. In the galaxy, there were many powerful creatures. Some could fly through space. Some could breathe fire. Some were as big as buildings. The riders who bonded with these beasts became the greatest warriors in the universe. But bonding was not easy. It required telepathy. The rider had to connect their mind with the mind of the beast. They had to become one. Most species in the galaxy had some telepathic ability. Humans did not. Everyone knew this, but she had come anyway. Her room was small but clean. There was a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out over the beast stables. She could see hundreds of creatures down there. Some looked like dragons. Some looked like giant insects. Some looked like nothing she had ever seen before. As she watched them, she started to hum. It was a song her grandmother had taught her when she was a little girl. Her grandmother had lived on a farm in Korea, and she had used this song to call the animals home. The dogs, the chickens, the old goat that liked to run away. When grandmother hummed this song, they all came running. Did not know why she was humming now. It just felt right. Down in the stables, something strange happened. One of the beasts turned its head toward her window, then another, then another. Soon, a dozen creatures were looking up at her. Stopped humming, the creatures turned away. She shook her head. "That was strange," she said to herself. The next day she met her roommate. Her name was, and she was had blue skin, 4 arms, and a kind smile. She was the first person at the academy who did not look at like she was garbage. "Hello, human," said. "I am happy to meet you. I have never seen a human before. You are so interesting." Smiled, "Thank you. I have never seen a before either." They became friends quickly. Explained how the academy worked. Every student had to learn meditation. They had to quiet their minds and open them to the beasts. It took years of practice. Some students never succeeded. "What about you?" asked. "Have you bonded with a beast yet?" Shook her head. "Not yet. It is very hard. The beasts can feel fear and doubt. If your mind is not pure, they will reject you." Thought about this. She did not have telepathy. She could not open her mind to the beasts. So what could she do? That night she sat by her window again. The stables were quiet. The beasts were sleeping, but could not sleep. She started to hum again, the same song, her grandmother's song. And again the beasts began to wake. One by one they turned toward her window. Their eyes reflected the moonlight. They were listening. Felt something in her chest. It was warm and strange. It felt like connection. It felt like friendship. "What are you doing to them?" asked from her bed. "I do not know," said, "but I think I am starting to understand something." She looked down at the beasts. They looked back at her. Maybe she did not need telepathy. Maybe there was another way. 3 months passed at the academy, trained every day. She sat in meditation classes with the other students. She learned about the different beasts and their powers. She studied the history of bonding, but she still could not use telepathy. She did not have the gift. The other students laughed at her. They called her names behind her back. Sometimes they called her names to her face. "Empty head," they said, "the quiet one," because her mind made no sound, because she could not reach out and touch their thoughts. Only stayed kind, and there was one other person who understood. His name was, he was also human. He had arrived at the academy 1 week after. He was 30 years old, tall and thin, with glasses and messy hair. He was not a warrior. He was a scientist. He studied how animals communicated on different planets. "I have been to 12 worlds," told one day. "I have seen creatures that sing with colors, creatures that talk with smells, creatures that dance to share ideas. Telepathy is just one way to communicate. There are many others." Like talking to, he made her feel less alone. "Do you think humans can bond with beasts?" she asked him. Smiled. "I think humans have been bonding with beasts for 40,000 years. We just do it differently." Before could ask what he meant, the bell rang. It was time for the announcement. All the students gathered in the great hall. Instructor stood on the stage. His black scales gleamed under the lights. His yellow eyes were cold and serious. "The day has come," he said. "Tomorrow is the first bonding ceremony. You will enter the grand menagerie. You will try to connect with one beast. If you succeed, you will become a true student of the academy. If you fail, you will go home." The hall was silent. Everyone was scared. His eyes found in the crowd. "Some of you will definitely fail," he said. "That is natural, that is expected." Felt her face grow hot. She knew he was talking about her. That night she could not sleep. She walked to the window and looked at the stars. They were different here. Strange patterns, unfamiliar lights. She missed Earth. She missed her grandmother. She missed the simple farm where animals came when you called them. She started to hum again, the old song, the calling song. Far below in the stables, beasts began to stir. The next morning the students lined up outside the grand menagerie. It was a huge building, bigger than any zoo on Earth. Inside were over 300 species of beasts, fire serpents, crystal birds, giant armored creatures, floating jellyfish that could fly through space. Each one was special. Each one was powerful. Was shaking. "I am so scared," she said. "What if no beast wants me?" Held her hand, all 4 of them. "You will be fine, you have a good heart. The beasts will see that." One by one the students entered the menagerie. Some came out smiling, a beast walking beside them. Some came out crying, alone. The bonding was not easy. Many failed. Went in, waited. 1 hour passed. 2 hours. Then came out with a beautiful shimmer hawk on her shoulder. Its feathers were made of crystal that caught the light like diamonds. "I did it," cried. "She chose me." Hugged her friend. "I knew you would succeed." Then it was turn. Instructor stood by the door. "The human goes last," he said, "so everyone can watch her fail." Walked past him without a word. She entered the menagerie. It was dark inside. Cages and pens stretched in every direction. Hundreds of eyes watched her from the shadows. She could hear breathing, growling, chirping, hissing. The air was thick with strange smells. She walked forward. She tried to remember her meditation training. She tried to open her mind, but there was nothing, no connection, no telepathy, just silence in her head. The beasts ignored her. They turned away when she approached. She was invisible to them, empty. Felt tears in her eyes. Maybe was right, maybe she would fail. Then she remembered words. Telepathy is just one way. There are many others. She remembered her grandmother. She remembered the farm. She remembered how the animals always came when grandmother sang. Closed her eyes, she opened her mouth, and she whistled. It was a simple sound, 3 notes rising and falling. The same call her grandmother used to bring the dogs home, the same song that had echoed across Korean hills for hundreds of years. The menagerie went silent. Then slowly, every beast turned to look at her. The fire serpents lifted their heads. The crystal birds spread their wings. The giant creatures stopped their packing. The floating jellyfish drifted closer. Every single creature in the building was looking at. 300 beasts, 1 human, 1 whistle. Outside, the students gasped. The instructor stared in shock. Yellow eyes went wide. Opened her eyes and saw them all watching her, waiting for her, listening to her. She did not understand what she had done, but she knew one thing for certain. She had not failed. The academy had never seen anything like it. For 3 days, everyone talked about what happened in the menagerie, the human girl who made every beast respond, the whistle that stopped 300 creatures in their tracks. It was impossible. It was unheard of. It was terrifying. Sat in the headmaster's office. It was a round room at the top of the tallest tower. The walls were made of glass and she could see the whole planet from here. Mountains, forests, rivers that glowed blue at night. The headmaster was not like the other aliens, was made of pure light trapped inside a crystal body. The light changed colors when spoke. Right now it was a soft blue, calm, curious. "Tell me what you did," said. The voice was gentle like wind through leaves. "I just whistled," said. "It is something my grandmother taught me. On Earth we use sounds to call animals. But you have no telepathy." "No, humans do not have that gift." Slight turned gold, thinking. "Then how did you reach them? How did you speak to their minds?" "I did not speak to their minds. I spoke to their hearts." The door opened. Instructor came in. His scales were dark with anger. Behind him came, looking calm as always. "This is a trick," said. "Humans cannot bond. They are too primitive. She must have cheated somehow." "How?" asked. "Our sensors detected no telepathic activity, no technology, just sound." Had no answer. Stepped forward. "May I explain?" Slight turned green. "Permission." Touched a panel on the wall. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth, blue and green and beautiful. "Humans are young in the galaxy," said. "We only found space travel 50 years ago, but we are very old on our planet. We have lived there for 300,000 years, and for the last 40,000 years, we have done something no other species in the galaxy has done." He changed the image. Now it showed a human woman with a dog at her side, then a man on a horse, then children playing with cats, then a falconer with a bird on her arm. "We made friends with other animals." Made a sound of disgust. "Friends? You mean you tamed them, dominated them, made them your slaves?" "No," said. "We partnered with them. Dogs helped us hunt. Horses helped us travel. Cats protected our food from rats. Falcons helped us catch birds. We did not control their minds. We earned their trust." He showed more images. A shepherd with sheep, a farmer with oxen, an elephant carrying humans through a river. For 40,000 years, humans lived with animals. We learned their sounds. We learned their body language. We learned how to make them feel safe. We developed a kind of communication that does not use telepathy. It uses emotion. It uses trust. It uses love. The room was silent. Looked at, When whistles, she is using a call that humans have used for thousands of years. It is in her blood. It is in her bones. The beasts here have never heard it before, but they understand it, because it speaks to something deeper than thought. It speaks to the heart. Slight turned pure white, understanding. "You are saying," said slowly, "that humans can bond with any creature." "I am saying that humans have been bonding with creatures since before we could write. We do not need telepathy. We have something else, something older, something stronger." Had been listening from the doorway. Her 4 hands were clasped together in wonder. "What do you call this gift?" Smiled. "On Earth we call it many things: kindness, patience, trust. But the best word for it is probably the simplest one." "What is that?" asked. "Friendship." Shook his head. "This is ridiculous. Friendship cannot replace telepathy. It cannot create a true bond." "Are you sure?" asked. "The beasts in the menagerie have been bred for telepathic bonding for 10,000 years. Their minds are designed to respond to mental signals. But when whistled, they all responded. Every single one. Has any telepath ever done that?" Was silent. Slight pulsed slowly, thinking, deciding. Said finally, "You have shown us something new, something we did not know was possible. The Academy must study this. We must understand it, but more than that, we must use it." "Use it?" asked. "How?" "The galaxy is a dangerous place. There are enemies everywhere. If humans can truly bond with any creature, then your people may be more important than anyone ever imagined." Thought about her grandmother, a simple farmer who sang to her animals, who loved them and cared for them, who never thought of herself as special. Now that simple gift might change the galaxy. Stood up straight. "I will do whatever I can to help." Slight turned warm orange, approval. "Good, then let us begin." 6 months passed, became the most famous student in the Academy. She worked with every beast in the menagerie. She learned their sounds, their movements, their feelings. She could calm a raging fire serpent with a soft hum. She could wake a sleeping with a gentle whistle. The creatures loved her. They followed her like puppies followed a kind owner. Even began to change. He still did not like humans, but he could not deny what he saw. One day he came to with a problem. A young beast had stopped eating. It was scared and angry. No one could get close to it. "Can you help?" asked. The words seemed to hurt him. Went to the beast. It was a small creature like a mix between a wolf and a lizard. Its scales were gray and its eyes were full of fear. When approached, it growled and backed into the corner. Sat down on the floor. She did not move closer. She just sat there and started to hum. A quiet song, a peaceful song, the same song she had hummed 1,000 times before. Slowly the creature stopped growling. Its eyes became less wild. After an hour, it walked over to and put its head in her lap. Watched from the doorway. His yellow eyes were soft, almost respectful. "Thank you," he said quietly. Life at the Academy was good, had friends, she had purpose, she had hope for the future. Then the harvesters came. It happened without warning. One morning the sky turned dark. 1,000 ships appeared in orbit around. They were huge and black, shaped like insects. They blocked out the sun. The harvesters were machines. They had no souls, no feelings, no mercy. They traveled from planet to planet, eating everything alive. They turned living things into fuel for their engines. They had destroyed 100 worlds already. Now they had come too. The Academy's defenses activated. Shield walls went up. Weapon platforms fired at the enemy ships. Beast riders launched into the sky, their creatures breathing fire and lightning at the invaders. For 3 days the battle raged. The Academy held strong. The harvesters could not break through. Then on the 4th day, everything changed. The harvesters activated their secret weapon. It was called the Null Field. It was a machine that blocked all telepathic signals. When they turned it on, every bonded rider suddenly lost contact with their beast. The effect was terrible. Beasts went wild. They forgot their riders. They forgot their training. They only knew fear and confusion. Some attacked their own partners. Some crashed into buildings. Some flew away in panic. In minutes, the Academy's greatest weapon became its greatest danger. Was in the courtyard when it happened. She saw a shimmer hawk crash to the ground, its rider thrown from its back. She saw a fire serpent burn through a wall, no longer listening to commands. She saw students running and screaming. Ran to her. Her shimmer hawk was gone, lost in the chaos. "I cannot reach her," cried. "The telepathy is blocked. She does not know me anymore." All around them, beasts were destroying the academy they had sworn to protect. Appeared beside, his face was calm but his eyes were serious. The null field blocks telepathic bonds, but you do not use telepathy. Understood immediately. She walked into the center of the courtyard. A dozen mad beasts surrounded her. Fire serpents hissed. Crystal birds screeched, stomped the earth. They were lost. They were scared. They were dangerous. Closed her eyes. She thought of her grandmother. She thought of the farm. She thought of all the animals who had come when she called them. Dogs in the rain. Chickens at sunset. The old goat who always ran away but always came back. She opened her mouth and began to sing. It was a lullaby, simple and slow. No words, just sounds, rising and falling like waves on a beach. It was the song her grandmother had sung during storms when the animals were scared of thunder. It was the song that said, "Do not be afraid, I am here. You are safe." The beasts stopped moving. One by one, they turned to look at her. Their wild eyes became calm. Their tense bodies relaxed. They listened to her song like children listening to their mother. The fire serpent lowered its head. The crystal birds folded their wings. They sat down with a sound like falling mountains. Kept singing. She walked among them, touching their scales and feathers, letting them smell her hands. She showed no fear. She gave only love. When she finally stopped, every beast in the courtyard was peaceful. They sat around her in a circle, waiting, trusting, ready. Shimmer Hawk walked over to its rider and pressed its crystal head against her cheek, cried with relief. Stood at the edge of the courtyard. His scales had turned pale. He had never seen anything like this. "How," he whispered. Looked at him. They were scared. They needed to know someone cared about them. They needed a friend. She turned back to the beasts, 300 creatures all watching her. "Now," she said, "we have a battle to win. Will you help me?" The beasts roared, all of them together. It was the sound of an army being born. The Harvester Command ship hung in the sky like a metal moon. It was the biggest ship in their fleet. Inside it was the null field generator. As long as that machine worked, no telepathic bond could function. The Academy's riders were helpless. But was not helpless. She stood before the War Council. All the instructors were there. Headmaster floated in the center, light pulsing with worry, stood with his arms crossed, and were beside. "We must destroy the null field generator," said, "but our ships cannot get close. The harvesters shoot down everything we send." "Their weapons are too accurate," added. "They can track any ship we launch. We have tried 20 times. We have failed 20 times. Raised her hand. "What if we do not send ships?" Everyone looked at her. "The harvesters track our ships because ships are big and slow," explained. "But what if we send something smaller? What if we send 1,000 small things, all moving in different directions at the same time?" "That would confuse their weapons," said slowly. "But how would we coordinate 1,000 targets? Without telepathy, we cannot communicate with the riders." "You cannot communicate," said, "but I can." She told them her plan. The beasts could survive in space for short periods. Some could even fly through the void. If they launched together in perfect timing, they could overwhelm the harvester defenses. The machines could not shoot down 1,000 targets at once. "But how will you coordinate them?" asked. You cannot use telepathy, and your voice cannot travel in space. Smiled. I will use the communication systems in the spacesuits. Every rider will hear my whistle through their helmet. Every beast will respond. Nodded. The beasts do not need telepathy to understand. They just need to hear her. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he did something no one expected. He bowed his head to. I was wrong about you, he said. I was wrong about humans. Please save us. 2 hours later stood in the launch bay. Around her were 400 beasts and their riders, sat on her shimmer hawk, wings gleaming, rode a massive covered in armor, even was there, mounted on his own battle serpent. The beasts were calm. They trusted. They had heard her songs for months now. They knew her voice like they knew their own heartbeat. Climbed onto her own beast. She had chosen a fire serpent, one of the wild ones that had tried to burn the academy during the chaos. She had spent a whole night singing to it, calming it, teaching it that she was not an enemy. She had named it the Korean word for grandmother. When humanity first looked at the stars, said through the communication system, we did not see enemies. We did not see things to conquer. We saw new places to explore, new friends to make. That is who we are. That is what we do. She looked at the faces around her, aliens of every shape and size, creatures of every kind, all of them listening to a human woman from a small planet far away. Today, we show the harvesters what friendship means. Today, we show them that they picked the wrong planet to attack. She raised her hand. Now fly. She whistled. The sound carried through every helmet, into every ear, clear and strong. The call that her grandmother had used 1,000 times on a small farm in Korea. 400 beasts launched into space. The harvesters tried to shoot them down. Their weapons fired again and again, but there were too many targets. The beasts moved like a swarm of bees, weaving and diving, never staying still, guided them with her voice. Short whistles to go left, long whistles to go right, songs to keep them calm, calls to make them attack. The machines could not adapt. Their programming was meant to fight telepathy. They had no defense against sound. They had no defense against love. And flew at the front. The fire serpent breathed flames at every enemy ship they passed. Together, they dove toward the command ship. The null field generator was at the center, a huge machine that pulsed with dark energy. Everyone follow me, called. 100 beasts joined her. They broke through the harvester defenses. They crashed into the command ship. Fire, lightning, claws, teeth. The beasts tore the machine apart like wolves tearing prey. The null field generator exploded. In that moment, every telepathic bond in the system came back online. The riders who had lost their beasts suddenly felt them again. The connection was restored. The harvesters tried to retreat, but now they faced the full power of the academy, beasts and riders working together, telepathy and friendship combined. They were unstoppable. By sunset, the last harvester ship was destroyed, was saved. 3 weeks later, the academy held a ceremony, stood before headmaster. Thousands of aliens watched. Of Earth, said, light glowing bright gold, you have shown us that there is more than one way to bond. You have shown us that the strongest connection is not made with the mind. It is made with the heart. Today, we give you a new title, a title that has never existed before. Paused. You are now the Grand Shepherd, the first of your kind, the bridge between all creatures. The crowd cheered, beasts roared, somewhere in the back breathed a small flame of pride. After the ceremony, found alone on a balcony. I owe you an apology, he said. I thought humans were weak. I thought you had nothing to offer. I was a fool. Smiled at him. You were not a fool, you just did not know, now you do. Scales shifted to a lighter color. It was the way of showing respect. The galaxy will hear about this, he said. They will know what humans can do. Your people will never be called primitive again. Looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Her grandmother's farm, the place where it all started. My grandmother used to say something, said. She said that the measure of a person is not how strong they are, it is how many friends they have. She turned to look at the academy below. Hundreds of creatures and aliens all living together, all learning from each other, all becoming friends. I think she would be happy to see this. Nodded, I think the whole galaxy will be happy because of you. Smiled and whistled a soft tune. Below, every beast in the academy turned to listen. The Shepherd of Stars was home.